Welcome to the Equipped Podcast by Connection Church. My name is Natalie Irvan, and we're so excited to have you today. I have some beautiful ladies that have joined us, and a couple of weeks ago, we interviewed some of the pastors' wives of Connection Church, and we just talked about life as a pastor's wife and what that means for us and our roles in ministry. And we have some more beautiful ladies who are spouses of men who are new in the ministry within the past few years. And so I'm so excited to interview them and let you hear their stories. They're very unique stories of coming into ministry. And I'm just excited for you to be able to hear how God really impressed upon them later on in life of their role in just ministry as a vocation, not necessarily serving within the church. And each of them have a very unique story. So I want to welcome y'all. Thanks for coming and being on the podcast. I know that sometimes it's intimidating, but everybody has a really good story to share, and I think everybody's story is worth hearing. And so today is just an opportunity for you to be able to do that and be vulnerable and not be afraid to just talk about what God's done in your life, because it's powerful, you know, and all the things that we've been through to get to this moment here. So first, I just want to go around and you let me know who you are, what you do, and what your husband's role here is at Connection.
All right. My name is Caroline. My husband is Quentin, or Q. He is the Next Steps coordinator. And so he works a lot with heart and soul and baptism, follow-ups, and just really anything within the life of our church of taking the next step. And I am a mental health counselor part-time, and also part-time stay at home with our daughter.
And expecting another baby.
And another one on the way.
Love it.
My name is Kelly, and my husband is Chris Miller, and he is the facilities coordinator and exterior ministries, and he works with all of the exterior ministries that we work with, like Freedom Through Recovery, Esther's Place, Fostering Bullock, and kind of is the liaison between our church and them, and we kind of try to help meet their needs if they have any, or hook them up with people that can meet those needs. And I work for DeWitt Darley Insurance. That's it.
And I am Kasey. I am married to Russ DeMott, and he is our discipleship director. I feel like y'all all know they all wear like many hats in the church. So I would say like two specific things that he does is setting up discipleship groups and triads, and kind of heading up coaching and connect groups. So, yes. And we have two little boys. Trace is 7, and Levi is about to be 5. And I do ultrasound part-time, and I also work at a nonprofit called Foundations Resource Center, a pregnancy resource center in town that helps women in their pregnancy journey.
That's awesome. And you're the house that the college kids like to come and just pop in.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
You're just like a revolving door.
We love it.
College kids.
Yes.
That's awesome. Cool. So kind of what I wanted to do, because each of you, like I said at the beginning, have such a unique story of how you ended up here, how your spouses ended up on staff at the church. So I want to hear those. And I think it's valuable just to like take a minute and you just to share how you and your spouse came to Connection, and then how they expressed interest ultimately in becoming part of staff. And you can go as elaborate or as brief as you want to. Okay? Caroline, you want to start?
Sure. So Q and I moved down to Statesboro. He had already been here for a little bit. And as soon as I moved down here, I said, you know, like, we need to find a church. Like, we just need to start attending somewhere. And we were actually supposed to go morning of to a different one. And last minute, I was like, actually, let's go to Connection. Knew nothing about it. Just was like, let's go here. Okay. And so we came a few weeks, and we just loved it. We felt like the people were so intentional and welcoming. And, of course, Brandon's messages stuck with us. And so after we had talked about it, after each service, we're like, I don't think we need to try anywhere else. Like, I think we're just going to stay here. And so we just kind of started on the typical Connection pipeline. We joined a Connect group. We became Heart and Soul. And just through serving and just being more involved with the church, we then went through Connection Leadership Path together. And just throughout it, just the conversations and things like that, Q had asked Jordan a question one day, and I don't even remember what it was, but Jordan responded with, well, have you thought about going into ministry? And Q was like, no. And I knew right then and there, I was like, like, I think that he's going to go into ministry.
Yep.
Yeah. And so from there, I think it was just continuing to be involved in the life of our church. And we started helping with baptisms on Sunday morning and just already regularly serving within Connection Kids and just helping out wherever we could. And so within that and just conversations that Q continued to have with Jordan just led us to him joining staff.
Yeah. And what is his role? What do you feel like his role has been the most beneficial part for y'all as a couple with him being in this new role?
I would just say the people that he gets to meet with. Like, I think it's been so special for us to both meet people that we may have never met just coming in and out on a Sunday morning or even within serving. It's almost kind of weird because I'm used to the one knowing a lot more people. And so that has been a transition of like him knowing way more people or like people coming up to me and like they seem like they know me because they know Q, and I'm just like, oh yeah, it's good to meet you. Like, I have no idea who you are, but this is great. And so that's been really cool to see just all the different relationships he's been able to create within his role.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And I've seen how he's grown even just from the very beginning when he was, I remember baptizing somebody way back when he first started, and how his confidence has grown, and now he's preaching services in different places, and just it's really cool to see how God's like taken him from the very beginning of him starting to work here into where he is right now and impacting lives. Like every time I'm in here, he's meeting with somebody, and so that's just really impactful and really special. How did you guys grow up? Did y'all both grow up in Christian homes?
So Q grew up Catholic, and so he was raised up until like confirmation and stuff like that, and then his parents didn't really make him attend anymore. Like that was just the important part for them.
Gotcha.
I was not raised up in church. I didn't start going on my own until I was in about middle school, which is around when I was saved. And so that was with a lot of family friends even that I would go with. My mom would go here and there, but that was about it. It was really me and our family that attended church.
So when did Q get to the point where he kind of reconciled the Catholicism with then what he believes now and like the salvation? Like what is his salvation story?
Yeah, I think a lot of that really happened in Loy and Jace's Connect group. By attending that. I think that's where he really started to like learn and dissect and like really the differences stood out. And so I would say just through that, like I don't know that there was a like one big specific moment of being saved, but just week by week of them like diving into the Word and just him understanding more and asking more questions and just wanting to know more.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love where y'all are at right now and just your little family and us getting to just experience all that y'all both offer to the church, because I feel like not only is he doing a lot, but you also as his spouse supporting him, but then in your roles. So talk about like how your roles have been within the church and where you serve.
Yeah, so starting out within the church, I started serving in Connection Kids, which was chaos, but so much fun. I started out in 2s and 3s, and at that time, we didn't have kids, and so really had no idea what I was getting myself into, consistently serving in there. But it was so fun to be able to see those kids grow up within that school year that you have them and get to know them. And I know that I've had multiple staff members' kids in KK, which was just so sweet. And so from there, then again, like I said, we were involved in Connection Leadership Path. And so that was a really cool opportunity just to really learn more about Connection Church and just dig deeper into it and be able to ask those questions that you just kind of want to know behind the scenes. And now currently I serve on guest services. Because that was a little bit more manageable with being able to attend service and still come for service with Charlotte being in KK.
and have Charlotte that
Yeah.
you're riding around in the wagon while you're
Yeah.
greeting people.
Yes.
And I feel like she's way more popular than even the two of you
She
are.
is.
So like when
Yeah.
when they showed up here at the church even today, everyone's
Yeah.
like, Charlotte! But I mean, we care about you too.
Yeah.
Like she's very cute. So.
She is, and she loves coming here.
Yeah.
Like, she'll be in a meltdown, and I'll say, "Do you want to go see Daddy at church?" Yeah. Okay. Then
I
let's
love
go.
that. We did talk about that in the last episode, that one of the best parts is like our kids being raised up in the church, and even though they have to be here a lot, that it's almost like a home away from home for them, where they get to come and be loved on by everybody. I mean, it doesn't even matter, who the person is on staff. They just really wrap their arms around our kids and love them and want to spend more time with them than us. So I love that.
Me too.
It's great. Kelly,
Yes.
what about you? I love your testimony so much. I love you and Chris's testimony. In fact, I think it could be its own podcast episode or maybe 2 parts. And I just think what the Lord's done in your life is so, so incredible, not to understate what he does in anybody's life. But I think when you look back and see where you were even at, 4 or 5 years ago to where you're at now, it is a tremendous life transformation, and only God can be responsible for something
Only
like that.
God.
And
Only
so
God.
I really want you to share how
Okay.
God has brought you and Chris to this point that you're at now with him being here on staff.
Well, so when we were in the midst of our addiction, we grew up in the faith. We grew up in church, and we were saved as kids, and then we both backslid. He was in Illinois, and I was here, so we didn't know each other. But God brought us together. There's no doubt in that. But we would talk about our faith and growing up in church and why we backslid and how it happened and our plan to get back, right with the Lord. We had to give up our life, and we weren't ready yet. And so we would talk about it. We'd even pray about it sometimes. But he would tell me then that he felt like God was calling him to be a pastor. And I would just look at him like he was crazy and be like, okay, whatever, you're just high or whatever. And then we rededicated, and we started coming to church, and he started doing the leadership path and being asked to speak and give his testimony and things like that. And I'm like, whoa, here we go. So that's kind of how we, and he said it, that he wanted to be a pastor, and it's been his main thing, and he wants to preach. He wants to be on the stage preaching the gospel and sharing his faith with people just like him and bringing them out of the hell that he came from.
Yeah,
So
definitely. And I think, when you think about people who have had a past addiction and you're coming into recovery, you and Chris both have a unique ability to impact people from that same group that are coming through that such challenging, it's something I can't understand, whereas
Right.
you can.
yeah,
And so that's what I always appreciate so much about Chris and about you, that you can reach people that some of us cannot reach, and you have access, like the Lord's giving you a platform to people that others can't reach. They're not going to listen to us because we haven't gone through the same things.
Right,
We don't
right.
know that struggle.
yeah,
And so I think, listening to what Chris has to say on stage, but then off stage when he's meeting with people,
Yeah.
he's constantly meeting with people.
All
And
the
I think
time.
that that's, he's so good in those crisis situations and those situations that maybe other people haven't had to experience.
Right.
And he's ready to jump up and let's do this. He's not afraid to kind of face things that are really difficult because you all have been through it.
yep,
Right.
yep.
Yeah. So can you expand on how did you first start coming to Connection?
Well, we had a lot of, there's a lot of darkness that surrounds addiction and drug use. And when we decided to come out of it, we actually had a conversation, and he had gone to jail, and I had gone to get him, and I was like, we have to do something different. We can't keep living like this. And I think the only way is if we, repent and give our lives to the Lord. And so that was what our plan was. And we went and confessed to our family everything that we had been doing, everything that we had been hiding. We even called his grandparents in Illinois, his mom in Hawaii.
And they had no idea?
No,
Wow.
like our family living so close to it, my family kind of we're like, something's wrong, something's going on. But we lied, we covered it up. We were not telling them the truth by no means. And so we finally just confessed to everybody, anybody that would listen. My boss, I went to my boss 2 weeks sober and was like, hey, I've been, this whole time they're like, I knew something was wrong with you. But we just, we figured if everybody knew that we would not be, it wouldn't be so easy for us to go back. And so once we did that, the enemy did not want to let us go. And we were having nightmares. We were experiencing things. We were experiencing a lot of things in the demonic realm. And it's real, and he was fighting for us tooth and nail. And so I remember meeting with my sister one time, and she was in Vivian and Eric's Connect group. Actually, she was in Brandon's Connect group, which Vivian and Eric were in that group at the time. And I remember meeting her and her talking about witch doctors and things like that she had experienced in Ghana. And I was like, we need to go see that lady. And so I called my sister, and she set up an appointment with Vivian, and we met with her, and she prayed for us. And she was like, okay, so now you have to come to our Connect group on Friday night, and then on Sunday you have to come to church. And we were like, yes, ma'am.
Whatever you say.
Yes. So we showed up that Friday night at her Connect group, and that Sunday morning we came to church. And I remember Brandon preached, and Chris stood in the line waiting to talk to him. And I remember he told Brandon, he was like, I'm going to become a member of this church, and I'm going to fight for you, or whatever. I don't know what he said. He was just really adamant that he wanted to be a part of this church and be a part of this, whatever we were doing here. And we just never looked back. We never, I wanted to shop around and go to different churches, but he was like, no, this is it. This is our home. So, yeah.
That's incredible. And even thinking about when you were talking about confession and how powerful that is. Like, I remember somebody saying that maybe it was a couple that used to be here who are now in the mission field. They were talking about how confession's a regular part of their Connect group. And when they said that, it made me like, ooh, like I would not want to be put on the spot and be like, all right, confess everything. Yes. But as I've discipled some girls, and as I'm hearing you, when you are able to confess and you're able to be brave and courageous in doing that, like what a weight it lifts off of you, but then it also allows other people in to see who you really are. Right. And not even for the judgment part of it, but like to love you through it, to walk with you in it, and to hold you accountable. Because if we don't know, then we can't help. And I think that that's so huge with our Connect groups is like being able to find someone, even if it's not the whole group that you want to just air it all out to, but like find somebody that you can confess to, that you can, come to and say, this is what I've been hiding and I really just need to release it, you know? And that's just, to me, it's such a powerful part of your story, is letting people in to see the true, who you really are. And I know that Chris obviously is very instrumental here and has spoken on several different occasions in different places as well. But for you, where are the areas that you feel called by the Lord to serve here?
Well, for a long time, I tried to match Chris's energy, and I was like, well, we don't have kids at home that we're raising, so I'm just going to do what he does. And I quickly found out that his calling and my calling were completely different. So I have, look at Russ looking. I have, as a more slower pace, I disciple one person where he disciples 9. And we have a huge Connect group that, the ladies, I need to be more available to my family who are aging and who need help. And if I'm, like Chris, morning, he works all day, and then every single night he's got something that he's doing. And so I don't see him until, 9:30 or 10 every night. Wow. And I can't do that and then be available for my family and for the ladies in my Connect group if they need me. So I just kind of have to take a step back and just, I disciple part of the prayer team here. I haven't volunteered for any other area. I've thought about kids, but
The first word that came to my mind was prayer.
Oh,
but when
yeah.
Natalie asked you.
Yeah.
I feel like that is absolutely where you're gifted,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
God's gifted you in that.
Yeah, and I mean, and I teach my niece that I disciple. I teach her prayer. I teach it to the ladies in my Connect group. That's the way I was discipled. That's the way Vivian taught me, and I definitely see the fruit of the prayers that we've prayed. I've seen God answer time and time again, and it's just where I'm called.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important that you recognize that you and Chris are not the same.
Yes.
And that just because he's fulfilling certain roles in ministry doesn't mean that that's what the Lord's called
Yeah.
you to do.
That's right.
And that we all have our giftings and we all have our purposes in the kingdom. And I think that you recognizing that and just being who God's called Kelly to be is so incredibly important. And people have been impacted by that in such a huge way here, especially the women in your Connect group, I'm sure, would say that. And,
Yes.
you know, I think discipleship is so important. And I know, Kasey, you have discipled some girls, and I know Russ disciples a lot. And that's played a huge role in how y'all kind of came to Connection because y'all grew up in the church. You were kind of raised up in the church.
Yeah.
So talk about how that process, but also how Russ decided that he wanted to take a leap of faith and come on staff.
Well, yeah, so I am from Statesboro. So I grew up going to a different church, but I think I was in like 10th grade and my friends were trying out Connection. And I was like, Connection? I haven't heard of that, let me go see what it's about. And I think I went one Sunday and I was like, okay. And then my family started coming with me, I'm like, we got to be here. It was the first time that I had heard someone talk about like a relationship with the Lord. I had never heard that before. And I don't know, I could just understand the messages, and it was just, I don't know, a place I wanted to be. So I started coming in high school. I think it was like 10th grade or 11th grade. And then wasn't like super involved with like youth or anything like that. I'm sure it was probably just getting going. I don't really remember at that time. You probably remember.
I don't know.
But anyways, so, I don't know that discipleship was like huge in the beginning for me.
Right.
But then throughout college, would join a Connect group at some point. And I just remember like the fact that I didn't know any of those girls. We hadn't crossed paths before. We were pretty different, but it was a space where we just, the common denominator was Jesus. And so just growing and having a space where we could ask questions and just read the Bible together and hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
So that was in college. And Russ, around the same time, he was here at school too, and he joined a Connect group and really just dove into discipleship and had people that were, calling him out and asking the hard questions and holding him accountable. And we were actually both on a trip to Passion with Connection. Never met each other. We were in different groups and, like, briefly said hey, and that was it. But we were both there with Connection, And so a few months go by and we get connected and eventually start dating. And at that time, I believe Michael Page was discipling Russ. And so the timeline, like, is so hard to remember. But I believe that me and Savannah started discipling before I was engaged, but it might have been once we were engaged. Okay. So then Savannah Page started discipling me. And she was the first one to, like, say, hey, we're just going to study a book of the Bible. Like, not a topic, not a lot of homework. We're just going to read. Right. And I was like, okay. I love that. I love this. Yeah. And so really learned a lot from her. And then Billy and Kate, they met with us a lot when we were engaged. We did premarital with Billy. So that kind of formed like a basis for us as well going into marriage. So just having some really instrumental people like to hold us accountable.
For sure.
And then also Morgan and James Connor were getting married. Like we met in Connect group, and they happened to be getting married 2 weeks apart from us.
I didn't realize that.
Yes, and we didn't know each other before we got engaged, before that time. So we really got to, in that aspect, it was maybe not formal discipleship, but we were really getting to dive into, okay, what is marriage, and what is this, how are we going to raise a family, and just going to church together and having that community was huge for us in those first years, for sure. So anyways, all along, probably since the beginning of knowing Michael, I don't know when, he mentioned ministry, and I feel like we were always just like, yeah, that's a good idea, I love that y'all are doing it, and love supporting
Nice for
y'all,
you.
and when we graduated, we had plans, and I really wanted to work my way up to the top in my field and be the best, and Russ had a plan, and he kind of, I'll let him, I'm sure he shared some of his, but just went on a journey with careers, and definitely wasn't the way that he thought it would look. Ended up getting a job that he ended up loving, and but then while he was there, about 8 years in, he's just like, I think I'm supposed to do something different, and anyways, I just look back on all those moments, I'm like, people have been telling us this. Maybe we should have listened. But the Lord's timing was just amazing to see. So as of last January, 2025, he came on full-time staff at Connection Church. And so, yes, definitely grown up in the church, and just had some really awesome people. You and John, just getting to watch y'all's marriage, and Macy and Jordan, and Savannah and Michael, and just the people who've been in it for a long time, and just to get to see the way that y'all love your family and love the church, and just been really cool. And so I'm like, I want to be like them.
I don't know about that, but I will say what's funny about Savannah, and I think she talked about this in, maybe it was a panel or something that they were on, but Savannah was in the first, she and I met each other through my friend Mandy, because she was going to marry Michael.
Yes.
And she came to my Connect group, and that first time that she came to my Connect group, she had never been a part of a Connect group before. It was very intimidated, and I told them that we were going to do prayer partners or accountability partners or something like that, and she totally freaked. And so, from that moment to when she's sitting down with you, discipling you, how, short of a time span that truly is when you step back and really look at it, and, what the Lord can do in somebody's life in such a short amount of time. And I think that just speaks volumes. And with Russ, I remember, always really liking Russ a lot. And he's very friendly, very personable, and y'all are a great couple. And when he got up on stage and preached for the first time, I was like, okay, Russ, this is great. I just didn't know that he had that side of him. And so it's really cool just to see how far he's come in that. And even discipling some of the college students, hearing the impact that he's made on their lives is
it's
insane.
Crazy just to see.
It's wonderful.
The Lord's plans are so much better than we could ever imagine. And it's crazy to think of growing up and kind of being behind the scenes, and now not behind the scenes at all. But it's just wild to look at the journey and to see the Lord's hand on every step of it, and not realizing it in that moment, you know, where we would be today.
Exactly. Talk about how this has changed your life, because I know probably before you didn't have college students coming in your house all the time.
Right.
Maybe you did sometimes, but not as much. And I think now that he's more of a presence in their lives, and you're more of a presence in their lives, how has this kind of changed the dynamic of your house and your boys and just your whole family?
Well, we love it, but we've always had a special heart for just college age, for whatever reason. And so, I remember being in college and wanting to disciple girls. I don't know if again, you ever use that term really formally, but just meet with younger girls and, walk with them, because college was such a huge time in my life of just really finding myself. So when he came on staff originally, he was working more with the college, and I was like, whatever you do, I want to be a part of it. You know, I don't want it to be you're doing ministry and I'm home and doing work or whatever. I wanted us to be a team in it. And so, just started having the first was him going on the mission trip and having just a team meeting at the house. And then from then, it was kind of like open door. They do text us before they come over. They do stay up a little later than we do. And so it's always like the night that I have like work early the next morning. And I'm like, I'm going to be so tired tomorrow. But our boys, like, they think they're their best friends. Like, they're like, when are our friends coming over, And same like y'all were saying with Charlotte, when they come to church, I mean, they're looking for those college kids to say hey to, and they're like, hey, I got to go talk to somebody, And so it's been just awesome. I am very thankful. They like to help babysit sometimes too, so that
is a blessing.
That's huge. But I mean, they'll come to baseball games, soccer games, just to be a part of our kids' lives. And so for me, I grew up here in Statesboro, so I never really had to go away. But Russ was not from here, and so just being able to offer like a home type feeling for the kids is really our goal, just to make them feel at home, away from home.
And I think they've made themselves at home. I love that. I really do love it though. And I've like, sometimes when the girls will talk to me, they'll be like, well, when I was talking to Kasey, or when I was talking to Russ, or when I was talking to Caroline, or when I was talking to Q, or when I was talking to Chris, like so they're like talking to lots of different people, and they're getting godly wisdom, and it's so cool to hear. And I'm like, well, then what did Kasey tell you? Because like I just love hearing that so many different people are speaking into their lives. I feel like I had one person when I was in college who really did that for me, but I didn't have as many people surrounding me. And I think our college ministry provides that. They provide all these resources and all these people to come alongside them and really help them in their journey, because it is difficult. And, there are a lot of decisions in the world that we can make, and they're making the choice to be here. So as long as they're here or one of our homes, we know that they're being poured into, or we're just being present with them and doing life.
And it kind of holds us, to an accountability.
It really does.
Because you're like, what I'm telling them, like, is my life matching what I'm saying,
Yeah. Well, and some of them are involved in, things with Jordan, and they're coming to me and telling me stuff, and I'm like, oh, like I probably need to be studying more. But yeah, I mean, it's great to see how they're growing, and it's because of how y'all are pouring into them, and how each of the staff members here do that. I don't think it's really necessarily one or another. It's really the team approach of everybody kind of doing their part in what they're gifted in. So.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, so fun memories. What is your favorite memory so far? So think back if you want to, or think recent. It doesn't matter. Your favorite memory so far about being at Connection. And it doesn't have to be when your spouses were on staff or anything, just like in general.
Gosh. Y'all have one?
I would say mine was probably Connection at Clements. I mean, obviously, like, being able to witness that many baptisms, of course, like, is going to be an amazing experience. But also just that, like, that was right after the hurricane, just all of that. Charlotte was still, I mean, she was maybe, a month old when that happened. And so just getting to even be able to take her and, like, just thinking of, like, these are the memories, like, that she's going to get to grow up with.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I would say that was probably my favorite memory so far.
It's so special.
Definitely a special event, too. Like, not something that happens all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Really.
When I was thinking about, I mean, there's so many, and that's definitely one of them. And the one more Sunday was, just that whole month, just being able to fast with the church, because Chris and it was our third year fasting for the first 25 or 21 days of January. So to be able to do it this year with the whole church, it just was so much more powerful.
Absolutely.
And so my dad came on that one more time Sunday, and Chris's brother came, and we've been praying for them and praying and trying to witness to them, and neither one of them went forward, but just that much more closer to Jesus, just getting them to be able to come. But I think my absolute favorite was knowing where we came from, and just less than 7 years ago, this is where I'm on the
That's what we got them for.
Get your tissue, girl.
Just watching Chris step up on the stage at Connection. He'd preached several times at Imago Day, at different churches, and because he goes to Guido Bible College, and some of his teachers have asked him to come and preach at their church and give his testimony. I mean, he's done that before, but just being able to see him doing that here, and then being able to have people respond to that, and then me go up and pray for those people, and just
That's cool.
it was just a powerful, powerful day. And probably
so
my favorite
special to
memory. And I
watch.
did that without crying.
You did good. You almost made me.
I know. I was going to cry, but whatever.
Who needs that
amazing.
tissue?
I don't know. There's so many good ones. I feel like my favorite was kind of like a really special memory. Somehow me and Russ ended up at an elder retreat. It was just like the plans. We had just talked to somebody. We were going to come up to the church that night, and we ended up there. And to hear the elders, it was the elders and pastors, sorry, worship so authentically, I was like, wow.
That was awesome.
It was raw and just real, and that will forever stick with me. But too, like you said, like watching Russ preach for the first time, I mean, I was a mess. Like, I don't even know what he was saying. I was just crying, like, so emotional.
I'm so proud.
But it was just full circle. So definitely. But there's so many fun and exciting memories too. I mean, some ladies' nights and getting to pray with people and VBS, and I mean, I love all of it. So I can't pick one.
I shared Connection at Clements whenever we did the last podcast, but for some reason, I don't know why this is, every time somebody asks me what my favorite memory is at Connection, the word Thundersticks comes to my brain. Because, at the Blue Building, this is the dumbest memory ever, by the way. I think it was at the Blue Building, or was it at the high school? I don't even remember. And John's going to be like, how can you not remember if it's your favorite memory? But we were probably in the Blue Building, and somebody had this idea. I don't know if it was John. I don't know if it's Greg Manns. I don't know. That we get these white thunder sticks that you take to, like
hockey
sports
games.
Yeah, and you, beat them together, and they're so loud. And they're like, man, that would be so cool for worship if everybody had thunder sticks.
I don't think I was there for that
so
Sunday.
Literally, everybody, they passed them out at the door. Everybody had thunder sticks. And I think I was still in college, so I'm just so immature, just, hitting people with thunder sticks. And, everybody's just, awesome. Clapping with them and worshiping. And for some reason, that always spots in my head.
I wouldn't forget that either.
It's definitely not my favorite memory, but it's why do I always think of thunder sticks? I feel like I need to just verbalize
You
it.
need to get it out.
Yeah, I needed to get it out so that I don't keep thinking about that every time. But college night, we should do that. Just bring them back.
For sure.
Bring back the thunder sticks.
They are fun.
Jordan thunder sticks.
Yeah, thunder sticks. Add it to the. They won't forget it. It was so loud.
Yeah.
And maybe it was because it was in the Blue Building and it was this big.
Yeah.
But.
They
Anyway,
were trying to pull out everything they could at the Blue Building.
Every stop. We were so engaged. I mean, that worship was fire, for real. And I will say, the first time John ever preached, the first time I ever heard him preach, also in the Blue Building, I was dating somebody else at the time, and I laughed at one of the jokes that John said. And the guy I was dating kind of looked over. He was like, what, you think he's funny or something? I'm like, yeah, I actually do. And who would have known?
That's great.
Now we're here.
I never knew that. I love that.
Yeah, he was talking about something crazy about how he used to, make up a fake girlfriend. Do y'all know that, or am I outing him right now? He said it in front of everybody, so it doesn't matter. It's on video somewhere. But he made up, a fake girlfriend and a fake Facebook profile for this girl that he was dating, and I don't even remember her name. It doesn't matter. But I thought it was funny at the time, and apparently I thought he was too funny. So here we are.
Well, now you get to laugh with him for all your days.
Yeah, now I'm like, do I still think he's that funny?
Now his jokes aren't funny anymore, I bet.
It's all the same now. But yeah, so where do y'all see yourselves in ministry over the next, let's say, 5 years? I know there's no way to know for sure, but what are you hoping to see God do in the next 5 years?
I feel like it's so hard to know, but I feel like I'm all in. So, whatever.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Same. Chris has so many ideas. He wants to be a pastor. He also wants to have a rehab. And he also wants to live as a long-term missionary in Turkey. So who knows?
knows
I'm
where
just
you'll be.
yeah, I'm like, Lord, send me, I'll go. But, you know, one of those three,
Yeah.
you know, we'll be doing.
That's incredible.
That kind of reminds me, like, as I was thinking about all this, a favorite memory, too, is just this past year since Russ came on staff, like, we've went on mission trips separately and then got to go to Turkey together, and that was really cool. So hopefully some more of that
Yeah.
in the next few
missions.
years. Yeah.
I'd love to go back
Yeah.
to Turkey with you guys.
Yeah, it's and then Engage
awesome.
Global, just getting to really learn more, you know,
Yeah.
and grow in the kingdom, whatever step that is, if it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, another church
Just
planning or
living
whatever.
open-handedly
Yeah.
to whatever the Lord brings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, for sure.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
I think
Yeah.
just being able to continue to watch Q grow and find more of maybe where God wants to lead us, whether that is church planning or long-term missionary or staying here and just continuing to grow here. Kind of like Kasey said, just more opportunities of maybe mission trips together or just other things that we get to grow with each other in. It's obviously really hard right now in this season of little tiny babies. And so just doing what we can together. It was really cool to be able to go to Engage Global together. It wasn't supposed to be that way,
Yeah.
but it worked out that we were able to. And it was really special to be there together.
I'm sure.
I recommend doing like trips and stuff with your husband. Russ wasn't supposed to go to Engage Global that trip either, but just getting to learn like with your spouse and just making those memories. Like I just feel like it's like pivotal for your own relationship and walk with the Lord.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate your heart. I appreciate just everything. I mean, I know that I speak for Jordan when I say this, just everything that you bring to the table, but also the way that you support your husbands and what their calling is and what your calling is, and like that you're living it out. And thank you for the impact that you have on me, because, you know, I know we don't get to spend a lot of time together without our children and without, you know, everything going on a Sunday. But it's so powerful to sit down and just like listen to one another and just be encouraged in our faith. So I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
And as Jordan would say, like and subscribe if you liked this episode. And we love you guys, and we'll see you next week on the Equip Podcast.